Hello, everyone. How's everyone doing tonight? Well, I wanted to acknowledge the 100th anniversary of Black Wall Street. That's a long ass time. That shit happened in fucking 1921. That's crazy. So I've been watching a lot of documentaries about that massacre. Been binge watching that shit. And I already knew about st- that situation. But the documentaries I've been watching has been very informative. So yeah, I want to give a history lesson on that and the history of Oklahoma in general. Okay, first off, the state of Oklahoma was initially an Indian territory, which means um, basically, I don't know if you all are aware of the Trail of Tears, but it was during a time where the government was removing Indians from their homeland and moving them out west because they wanted to expand the land. So they kicked the Indians out, and they were also slaveholders. A lot of people don't know that Native Americans also owned slaves, especially what we call the five civilized Indians, which consisted of Cherokee, Creek, Chickasaw, Choctaw, um, and Seminole. They were considered the five civilized Indians. So they went through the Trails of Tears alongside their slaves, and they moved to Oklahoma. And so they built a life there. Then, when the end of slavery occurred, they had to allow them to be a part of their tribe. So they did that, and then the blacks that were the Indians' slave owned land and all that. And see, back then, after slavery ended, a lot of blacks moved to Oklahoma because they saw it as a promised land. They felt they can have a better life in Oklahoma. And back then, they had a lot of black towns. And all that. So, yeah. Hey, AMR. Hey, Taybix. How are you doing? Hey, Black Dust. How's it going? Hey, Aquarius, baby. So, yeah, back to my history lesson. So, yeah, a lot of blacks moved to Oklahoma for a better life. They own land. And blacks were really thriving in Oklahoma. Mind you, back then it was a territory. It was before they became a state. And so, of course, they didn't want to become a state because they didn't know what that entails, because the whites would be bringing their Jim Crow bullshit onto Oklahoma if it was to become a state. And sure enough, that happened when it did become a state. And so, yeah. Now, what took place during the Black Wall Street massacre? What occurred was basically a black gentleman was a shoe shiner, and so he accidentally pushed up against a white woman, and she was all hysterical and shit. And so it caused a big outrage, and so they arrested the boy, and the white mob was planning to lynch him. And so you had these World War I vets protecting him. They were armed. They were trying to protect him from being lynched. And yeah, so the massacre occurred because it was a mixture of that and the fact they were jealous of blacks thriving. Blacks were doing the damn thing in Greenwood, which is a neighborhood in Tulsa. And those stories are not unique. A lot of that race massacre shit occurred in a lot of cities. You look at places like Rosewood, Florida. I don't know if you all seen that movie called Rosewood, but was another incident, another race massacre that took place. Black Justice Says was basically an orchestrated massacre that had to take place if the Rothschild and Bilderberg to flourish on the planet. Well, they never wanted blacks to thrive. That's the whole thing. They fucked up our neighborhoods, our community out of pure jealousy. They hated seeing blacks thrive, and we were doing well. And see, we had no choice but to do business with one another because of segregation. And even when we did our own thing, they kept fucking with us. They never want to see us succeed. Like, even when we separate from them, they see that we're doing well, they get upset, they get pissed off that we're doing well, that we don't need them for anything. So yeah, and the fucked up about that massacre, that Black Wall Street massacre, man, no one was held accountable for that shit. They got away with killing innocent blacks. They burned these people's homes down, their businesses. You had fucking airplanes dropping bombs on the community. Like, shit crazy, man. And I can't stand when society want to tell blacks, oh, pick up your bootstraps. We've been doing that. And every time we do that, you all go out your way trying to prevent us from excelling. Yeah, man, I've just been watching a lot of documentaries about Black Wall Street. It's just sad the shit as black people we have to go through. Right, AMR. That was another Black Wall Street in Durham, North Carolina. Yep. That's what I'm saying, man. There's so many black communities where we were thriving back then. We had our own lawyers, we had our own doctors, we had our own banks, or what have you. We were really thriving during that time period. And it's a lot of things that we don't know because, like I said, they sweep a lot of stuff under the rug. There's a lot of stories that's hidden from us, unfortunately. Black Dust says in the 21st century, it's amazing Black people still put up with so much shit at the hands of the powers that be. Yeah, man. It's like you gotta deal with a lot. Like a lot is up against us. Even when we trying to do the right thing and we trying to succeed, it's always someone trying to push us back. Don't want to see us succeed. But yeah, I don't think it's too late for us to get back to what we were back then. We had our own businesses or what have you. I don't think it's too late. And it's fucked up that they haven't even gave those people, the survivors, the descendants, their reparations because they deserve reparations for that incident. And it's just sad that we're cut off from generational wealth because these motherfuckers don't want to see us succeed. That's some bullshit. Right, Black does. It's never too late. Like we in 2021 and we have more opportunities than ever, man, especially nowadays, man. We have resources. We just have to navigate that shit, man. It's never too late to go back how things were when we had our own businesses. And see, shit like that gets to me because I know our potential as Black people. I know that we can have more in life, man. It's just fucked up that there are people out here don't want to see us do well. They're scared of our potential. And see, I constantly go out of my way to learn about shit in regards to my race because a lot of stuff they don't teach us in school. I didn't even know anything about Black Wall Street. Honestly, it's something I had to search for. No. Hey, AMR.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, cool. But yeah, though, hey, but I was also gonna, again, come on and also tell you like a little interesting story about Greenwood, because my brother actually took me to that little area around in 2015.
Right.
And he was explaining to me, how yeah, man, that was the first ever, that was, again, a lot of people have these misconceptions about Black Wall Street and people trying to take credit for them being the first, but nah, it originated here in Greenwood. So he took me to the location, took me to see the statues, and this was like on a hot a hot summer day too. And I'm looking at this, and while he's telling the story, and I'm taking a good look at the visuals, and again, is when the word massacre started, started coming up. It's like how you go to like certain places and you just think about all the negative history that's taking place. I couldn't help but to tear up. I couldn't.
Yeah, it's just so depressing when you hear about stuff. You like, damn, like this really happened. Like my people were thriving, and motherfuckers went out of
Yeah,
their way to prevent that from happening. It's crazy.
and that was the thing too. And even he was like saying, "Yeah, I know." It's like, yeah, it's scary and it's sad, right? Like, yeah, because all based on a lie. Just like what happened with the Emmett Till situation, all based on a lie. And
Yeah,
when you
yeah. She loved it. Said he whistled at her, but even at that, she didn't deserve to die. And then the
but
bitch, and she ended up coming forward later on saying she lied about that.
yeah, it's like she took that to the grave with her, just like the people in Greenwood took whatever that they did, to the grave with them. It's like y'all, nah. It's like you say that you want us to thrive in different ways. When we do, then here y'all are trying to find being sneaky, trying to shut it down. You say pull yourself up from your bootstraps, and when we do, it's like we got to answer to y'all. And it's like, well, we didn't go to y'all necessarily for a dime. And again, and a lot of folks, like when I brought up in the comment in the chat room about Durham, North Carolina, another one.
Yeah, that was considered Black Wall Street too in
Yeah.
Durham, North Carolina. Yeah,
And
yeah, but yeah, and it's just
okay,
been a lot of Black communities where everyone was thriving, and they just fucked that up. They didn't want to see us succeed. They were jealous of us.
what it's like, well, and also it's like you do have, a mix of that, and then you really have a mix of us that really don't want us to succeed too. Just keep that in mind. I'm not trying to be divisive or anything like that. Just thought I'd point that out. But anywho, though, I digress. But yeah, and the thing about it is that again, and shout out to Black Dust with the comment about how the things that we go through still till this day. It's like that's really again when you've been in the press group for so long. In a way, it can be exhausting, but in a way, it can also teach you how to be strong
Right.
in your will. Your will gets hardened and emboldened after every breath you take.
Yeah, Silent J. Yeah, true Silent J. He said when you saw them hanging black men, it was the business owners they was hanging and stealing their stuff. Exactly. They did all of that because they were jealous of our success. They were threatened by any black person who was doing well. They referred to us as uppity. They hated when black people could afford to have a car, have all these material possessions. They felt like we didn't deserve it.
And you know what? And also, Harley, I'm also going to drop another dirty little secret about those about Oklahoma being technically being an Indian reservation type of state, of course. Um, Now you were spot on, again, like with the information, but then there's also again another tangent point to where I don't know if you or anybody else know this, that there were like I think it was from around 72 or 73. You had a lot of white folks that would have to pay $5 just to claim their Indian heritage, and that's why they were called $5 Indians. Not that they didn't have any traces of Indian blood in them, or if you did a DNA ancestry 23, it would just pop up. Nah, these people were actually paying the reservation to do this. So imagine how it's like. So if you have to pay $5 just to claim something that you're not, what purpose? What purpose does that serve?
They want to be oppressed so badly. That's what it is.
Exactly.
The spotlight always have to be on them, even though they had everything handed to them thanks to white privilege.
Right. It's like so you won't. It's like so, and again, it's like so you want white privilege, but you also want Indian privilege too. Oh, but never mind though. Again, a lot of your casinos are Indian, yeah, are Indian built, Native American built.
Right.
But y'all don't know that.
Yeah, but for some reason they love claiming that they have Indian in their blood, even though they can't even tell you which tribe they came from.
Right. It's like if I ask you, it's like okay, okay, like what is your what background Native American do you know happen to have? And again, you just get tricked.
Yeah. And when their go-to and the go-to tribe they always love to reference is Cherokee. And I'm like, you do realize there's other tribes outside Cherokee, right?
Yeah, yeah. And it's like y'all will just rely on that one particular tribe, neglecting the others. Just
Right.
like like in house where it's like that there's multitudes of blacks, right? It's not just African American. I mean, there's black Jamaicans, black Asians, black Barbadians, black it's other, but they still ain't changing the fact that they're still ain't changing the fact that they're black. But however, but to these folks, they really want to be dishonest with just so that they can say, oh, well, I have Indian blood, so I'm not, a fat, I don't believe in fascism. Yeah, you do. Yes, you
Right.
do. Again, and if I were to necessarily, have a DNA test right now and they show some Native American blood, I will pass with all flying. But that's not me being, arrogant or being,
Shit,
sounding.
my kid told me I had Native American in our family.
Yeah. And and another thing too, again about that. Now, and I think I may have heard this, recently. How again, I know you don't really like to discuss, those political, but sometimes when you go political, you realize how these things connected to both. But I think Joe happened to be the the first president, out of all the presidents to ever Texas, to go stop over there.
Your mic's kind of
Was that hello?
yeah.
Yeah, he was the first one that I guess made an appearance, over the Greenwood. I mean, some people may say that, oh, of course Donald Trump did or he tried to, but they wouldn't let him. Like they was able to cover up certain monuments and statues to not let him know that uh, that this particular town, Greenwood, has some historical has some historical, creations too, and features to it. And he would be the first one, again, if he happened to be elected, probably distance hours with no problem within the snap of a finger. And also another thing too, like even about Chicago, this is what I also learned that Chicago was known, I think it may still be known for black wealth.
Yeah, a lot of blacks went to Chicago during the Great Migration, especially from places like Mississippi. They migrate to Chicago.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
the Native Americans, Black, Irish, Italian, or that were actively broken in America at the time that went on in America. Primarily white through and through. The red, white, blue has no space for people of color. Well, and that, and it doesn't really believe red, white, blue. It's green.
And the whites, they purposely didn't want Native Americans and blacks coming together. They tried to go out of their way to keep blacks and Native Americans
Yeah,
apart.
and again, just like, it's the good old divide and conquer tactic,
Yeah.
which is what happens, again, I think I brought this point up a long time ago, that there's a real book called White Cargo, and they talk about the first ever slave who were white coming straight out of Britain, and they talk about that, and they talk about the blacks coming out of Africa, how these things were intermingling, but they were both up against the hierarchy. But then they started changing the format, making everything race based.
Yeah, and then there were incidents where when slaves escaped, they would intermingle with the Native Americans and join their tribe, and they would get into relationships, what have you.
Right. But yeah, though it's like and hell, and I'm also, and again, I'm pretty sure you already know this too. For those who don't know, like hell, Bass Reeves. Everybody thinks that Bass Reeves is the Lone Ranger. Everybody thinks he's a white dude wearing a mask. It's like, nah, actually, Bass Reeves is a black. Y'all can go ahead and look it up for those that think, oh, you lying. Okay, I'm lying. I'm lying. If I say something, if I don't say something, then it's like, and you know how some people they'll be like, well, just because if I don't say it, then it means it doesn't exist.
Mm-hmm.
And just like how people don't believe what is it? It's like they may not believe in witchcraft, or they may not believe in ghosts. And it's like, well, just because you don't believe in it doesn't mean that they exist, or they don't know any type of spell that could possibly change your life, whether temporarily or permanently. Could you imagine the power of black and Native American people together as one? Now that would be interesting. Oh yeah,
It does.
and you know what? And that's the thing too, right? Like they kind of, sort of had it, again in a way. Like if you go back to Louisiana, everybody points out, about the whole Louisiana how it is today. It's like Louisiana was never really part of it. Was really supposed to be a U.S. state or U.S. territory. It was a French territory.
In Louisiana, they went about things differently because, like,
Even though, again, it was still, again, like French or French territory, but because, I think who was it that? Yeah, the Haitians and the Polish. Yes, Haitians and the Polish. Haitians had no issue, again, like fighting everybody else. But when it's time to fight other black people, they didn't want to do it. So, or they lost, or Haiti beat France. That was why the Louisiana Purchase took place.
Right. Like the Creole, they're a mixture between Spaniards, the French, the blacks, and Native Americans.
I'm a primary product of that. I'm
And
a,
we all got mixture down the line.
what's that?
We all have a little mixture down the line.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. And and again, I refer to them as well, hell, myself as a MGM. And I'm not talking about the MGM Grand. No, there's actually a term, and it actually does exist. Multi-generational, yeah, multi-generational, multi-racial.
Right.
It's like so. I, that was the thing even before again, like I don't really want to use this word mulatto. But I got a problem saying biracial. But the word mulatto, I know some people don't get turned off. But I'm not using the term negatively, but that's what they were.
Yeah.
So, so go ahead.
I'm glad like the Black Wall Street Massacre is being acknowledged, at least especially mainstream, because it needs to be taught in schools. It needs to be acknowledged. Amongst other massacres and stories they don't teach you in school.
No, and you know what? And yeah, and I wondered what took them so long. They asked me so it never happened or it never existed, and they're so quick to point out other people and other success. Well, I don't want to say this is success, but other people's downfalls because they was able to rise and push the table, but never what took place during the Black Wall Street massacre. So this facility would set a whole lot of people off.
Oh yeah, like that minority myth, how they try to pin Asians against other minorities when we all know that's bullshit. Asians aren't all successful, but they try to pin other minorities against other minorities. Divide and conquer shit.
Oh yeah. And then again, and you know what? And they do it with other, they doing it with other black, whether they're a black American, a black non-American. They. And again, I think that's because they too ignorant and they listen to that, what's that? I think they listen to Tariq Nasheed's uh, FDA or Cato.
Get the fuck out of here, Tro. Spamming my fucking chat.
I'm like, this motherfucker must have had too much time on his hands.
I know, and they're failing.
I'm like, and I'm like, but he ain't gonna click that link. He or she ain't gonna click that link.
Yeah, I guess my topic is triggering to these racist fucks.
Yeah, it always has been. It's like they had no issue, celebrating when we're participating in fuckery. But we take fuckery and we put a little extra oomph to it. Like
Yeah, just like how we acknowledge Black History Month, and then they want to make it about them and be like, well, what about White History Month? Well, White History Month is every year for you all.
right. It's like so nobody doesn't so again like we didn't have 4th of July. We don't celebrate St. Patrick's Day. We don't celebrate Thanksgiving, Christmas. Hey, give me another. like, oh, there's so many to go around. I can't even count.
Yeah, it's like everyone has their own holiday. Like Latinos have their own month, the Asians have their own month, Native Americans have their own month, the gays have their own month. Like what the fuck? So when it's black related, oh, people want to try to take attention off of us.
Yeah, yeah. And the race soldiers don't like black people talking in positive terms. Oh yeah, that's
Like
yeah.
they're triggered. They don't like black people speaking on positive shit. They don't like us speaking on the truth of our
Because
history.
you know what, Harley, another thing, another fearful thing is because what they've done, again, they're scared that we're actually going to take what they did, and we become again like not the oppressed, but the oppressors, and turn around and reverse it on them, and they don't like that.
Yeah,
They're like,
we're scared of revenge when really we just want equality. We want to be treated like anyone else, and they're scared. They're paranoid because all that dirty shit they did towards black people. They think we're gonna get revenge at them.
and you know what? And who was it that said, karma is coming? Karma is coming for a lot of people, regardless whether they want to be historically, intellectually, or better yet, dishonest. Like how much dishonesty, you want to see to push. This goes for certain things not to be acknowledged, like it never took place or it didn't exist. It's like, yeah, it's like y'all push this, for how many years now? Or every time we got to do a report on history, social studies, oh, you were oppressed. Then all of a sudden other information comes out, yeah, but we did other things to keep ourselves being oppressed.
Oh, and they want to be paying us reparations. They don't want to give us no reparations for shit.
Yeah. And it's like, and what's funny is about how, and a lot of people trip about this dude by the name of Byron Allen, and how motherfuckers will be so, kind of distracted in the sense of a certain company were to put a black face on something, then that means that the black person is in charge. It's like, no, they're not in charge. You put a black face up there. Yeah, you put them as the base. But deep down, you're the one running the thing behind.
Yeah.
And it's like when I found out how what McDonald's is paying, what McDonald's like 2% payment from McDonald's goes directly into the community. How sad is that?
Yeah, McDonald's paid their workers shit.
Right. And been doing this for how long now? And again, like for people that people that I know who go to McDonald's. I mean, hell, the only time I probably would eat McDonald's is to take breakfast, and that's it. It's not like being like, oh, all right, well, you can cook breakfast at home. Yes, I can, and I did.
Shit, I love them Big Macs. That's the only thing I like from here.
You know what? I stopped eating a Big Mac because the moment that I saw that orange man eating, I'm like, you disgust me.
They just skimpy on the meat though. It's like how you give me all this bread but not give me more meat. Like they just real skimpy with like the meat does not cover the bun.
Yeah, and you know what? And that's the thing too. Like, if I would recommend you try the Wendy's triple. Wendy's triple will bury the Big Mac in a second.
That is true.
Again, it's like when I eat those Wendy's triples, and I'm like, after a while, you appreciate it. Just like if you used to have a good old mama burger, and even like Eddie Murphy say, yeah, your mama was big enough, the burger she was gonna make you better than McDonald's. Like, oh, cool. But then he goes to explanation about how the way that she made it, she would cut up a bell pepper into these big old chunks, put an egg in it, and well, McDonald's runs as a sesame seed. Well, you're not eating a McDonald's burger, you're eating a mama burger.
So true, Black. Yeah, it's always going to be that one racist motherfucker trying to deflect, trying to distract us when we're speaking facts. It can be like that sometimes.
And you know what? All that really did is just make them look even worse. I'm like, how many black people do you have, or people of color in general, going to your channels or your whatever racial section off that you go to, and them not get held, get their feet held in spot? I'm like, hell, don't David Duke have a YouTube channel? And you probably one of his same motherfucking supporters, ain't you?
Right. It's like, it's like, even when we're trying to talk about positive shit, it's like they don't like us, but they go out of their way to bring their asses on us for some reason.
Yeah. It's like, it's like we can, and again, and I know there's like a 100th anniversary and all. I mean, hell, we can't even talk about, again, not only this, but hell, there's black people that's trapped. There's black people that's involved in the stock market, Bitcoin, and cryptocurrency. And it's like,
Yeah, I don't really eat at McDonald's that much. Like this.
yeah.
It's very very casual, but not. I'm not a regular McDonald's customer.
Right. And that's the thing too, because again, a lot of fast food. I mean, of course, it's okay to be, what's that word? In moderate, yeah, in moderate, of course. But eating it every day, like,
Yeah, it's not healthy.
Yeah.
And I'm healthy I eat healthy for the most part. I have cheat days, but for the most part, I do eat healthy.
Yeah.
I drink water every day.
And you know what? I kind of had to go on the candy straw.
Really?
Really. And don't get me wrong, because there was a time where I was just like crave candy, like I craved it like it was a special kind of crack. And in a way, it kind of is, but I don't necessarily, like buy 2, 3, 4, 5 bags of it like I used to before. And I was just like just settle for like regular stuff. Like, okay, I'll just take a cookie. Next, I'm not really a cake person. I know it's gonna be a shocker. Like, well, you don't eat cake? Not really, depending on what type of cake it is. But other than that, no, I don't.
You don't eat cake?
No.
Not even red velvet cake?
I wouldn't even have. I wouldn't even have a piece. But nah, I like my cookies. Yeah, I like my cookies.
Yeah, I like chocolate chip cookies.
Oh yeah, and you know what? That's the thing. I like them chewy. I don't like them real hard. You try to take a bite out of them, you chip a tooth.
Yeah, I like the chewy ones too.
because it's like, and you know, and I know it's some people gonna be like, well, well, don't get, well, they both sweet, yeah, they're sweet, but hell, one damages your teeth, the other one necessarily don't do as much damage.
Hell, that's why I looked up to Angelica from Rugrats because she loved chocolate chip cookies. I was like, oh shit, I do love chocolate chip cookies. That's what I
Right,
loved me some Angelica when I was a kid.
right. Did you have a Cynthia doll?
No, I didn't have a secret. No,
I'm mad. I'm
I
mad.
related more to Angelica though because she loved chocolate chip cookies just like me. So I was like, man, I'm a kinship towards her.
But you know she was kind of mean.
Yeah, she was a mean. She's mean. She was mean to all the babies.
Yeah, and
She
I'm
had
like,
Tommy, Chucky. She was a mean girl.
right, and I'm like, you're not.
Speaking of which, do you have Paramount Plus? They
Do I
brought
know?
they rebooted Rugrats, so they put it on this streaming site called Paramount Plus.
Oh yeah, yeah, I heard about that, and I was telling my family about it. But they kind of like modified it in a bit to where somebody, I guess, is gonna, I guess, be a part of the LGBT community, and it's gonna be the twin mom,
Yeah,
Bill's mom, Betty.
yeah, they made one of them gay.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, that's where it is. Y'all feel that that's the route y'all want to
Man,
go?
they bring a lot of shows back. Like they even brought back iCarly. Like they rebooted that show too. I'm like, God, where's the creativity?
Or the Wild Thornberry, or Hey Arnold.
Yeah, like I want them to reboot Hey Arnold.
Could you imagine somebody actually had a head shaped like a football? If there was a real person just walking around with a football shaped size head.
I can imagine.
but my man, but again, I gotta give it up to my man Gerald. Like, Gerald had that, big hot top fade that kind of looked like an ice cream cone with, with big stack of ice cream scoop.
Right.
Yeah.
I like Helga.
Oh, she was another one.
Yeah, she was a mean girl. She was crushing on Arnold though.
Right. How you gonna be crushing on somebody that you need to? Oh, never mind. That's how it normally starts. Sorry about that.
Yeah, but she pulled a I just like fucking with you because I like you. She always bullied Arnold, but she low key liked him though.
Some of your American TV guys shall have to plead ignorance.
Yeah, Black Dozens are classic American shows. Yes. These are shows I used to watch growing up.
But you know what though? But see, here's the thing though. It's like it wasn't just that. I was also watching. Like I remember, like there was Nick at Night, and
Oh yeah, I remember.
like I Love Lucy, The Munsters, I Dream of Jeannie, Mary Tyler Moore, and you would think, what was actually showing up? Yeah, they were.
Our generation's best TV shows, hands down. Like we had better things to watch. They're classics.
Yeah.
That's why every time we reboot our stuff that we grew up on.
And it wasn't just, Love and Hip Hop or Real Housewives or uh, what other shows that it shows just people or even us in an ignorant light.
That's what wives.
Yeah, like it wasn't really none of that going on.
The
I
real
mean,
one started the whole reality show craze.
yeah, and you know what? And even sitcoms too, like certain sitcoms. Uh, when every time I like look at an episode, like let's say whether it's Bernie Mac or My Wife and Kids, you know, oh, or even Fresh Prince to some degree,
In Family Matters.
yeah, and Martin or Smart Guy.
Oh yeah, they're rebooting that too. Smart guy.
What?
Yeah. It's gonna be on Disney Plus. So that's cool.
No disrespect. Yeah, it's like no disrespect to Disney Plus, but y'all had the Mandalorian and y'all had a cast member who was just ignorant as can be. Huh. But yeah, but that's yeah. We've been waiting for these shows to come on. Y'all been y'all been bullshitting. Y'all been bullshitting.
And Disney Plus also bringing back the Proud Family. So they're rebooting that too. Like, damn, y'all just bringing all my shows back. Huh?
Yeah, yeah. I think I guess they really try to make TV fun again. And I'm like, in a way, yeah, it's cool. It's cool, but every now and then, for every, I guess reboot of a show or y'all bringing back, there's always gonna be a little hint of ignorance just floating around.
Yeah, the creativity is gone. Like they want to bring back stuff that we grew up with. It's like, where's your original content? Come up with shows.
Like, and that's the thing too. Like, and now, and no disrespect, but I'm to these. It's like, what the hell is a Drake and Josh? What the hell is a Hannah Montana? I mean, I know what it is, but who is y'all spoofing off of?
Hannah Montana was not. I didn't even care for that show. I didn't watch a little of it. It was one of my favorite shows. Like I fucked with Lizzie McGuire, Even Stevens, That's So Raven. Those are shows I grew up on.
Yeah, and also, what also? Yeah, yeah, you named them all. Hell, even anime, like you had Kim Possible, and
Oh yeah, I
like
used to watch that show, Kim Impossible.
you talk about diversity, and
Oh yeah, the famous Jack Jackson. I watched that show too.
which one?
This show called The Famous Jet Jackson.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
I remember that too, but he, unfortunately, he's no
yeah,
longer with
he
us,
offed himself. Sad.
and that's the thing too. It's like he kind of went out like how what's that dude's name that was in Spy Kids with Chuck Norris? I think his name
Oh yeah, I know who you're talking about. His name was. Gosh, let me.
Jonathan
I know you're talking.
Brandis.
Yeah, Jonathan Brandis. Yeah, he
It's
offed
like
himself
you
too.
you've never heard not that much controversy about these folks, but when they get to a point to where it's like you think, yeah, it's like that is that is very in the spotlight, but it's a part of you that just can't necessarily find a way to be happy.
Yeah, I think he was kind of bummed out because his career wasn't going the way he wanted. I think he was depressed because I mean, I guess if you're used to getting attention, you're used to being in the limelight, and then that just stops. I guess you can get down about that.
Yeah, and also you also got also the people who are around. How do you know that again like it's certain if you weren't necessarily being taken advantage of, how do you find answers?
True.
And, and again, it's like even when you have these, childhood actors, these child actors, they will be in certain things for a certain period of time, and then they grow up and you barely even see them anymore, and they start telling what really goes on behind the scenes. And to top it off, I mean, hell, I even have a cousin who was a child actor.
Hey, Black does. I don't have traditional cable either. I just stream stuff. Like
Yeah.
I, yes, well, that's what we cord cutters do. We stream shit. We don't have traditional cable.
Oh yeah, like when we had TV, you had the antennas. You'd have to, point them a certain way just to make sure you had that good quality of. And then you had those, some wooden heavy TVs with
Oh yeah,
with the
like,
knob.
plastic TVs are the shit now. No one has box TVs anymore.
And you had the TVs that you just had to put it on the stand and then just plug it in. Wasn't no
Yeah.
smart TV back then.
Oh yeah, back then we didn't have on demand. Like if we missed a show, we just fucking missed a show.
Yeah,
That's one thing I hated.
yeah. I mean, I guess that's where DVR, comes in. I that was the most needed thing anybody could have came up with.
Yeah, I do not miss that part of the era where I had to worry about missing a fucking show. Nah.
Yeah. Dude, hell, I remember there'd be certain episodes of this TV show called Dinosaurs that I hated so. And I was like, really? Like, you're not. I'm like, what? You're not gonna find it? No, that's fine. Or even Power Rangers. I would watch Power Rangers first, from like the first season until they, brought in some newer ones. But the classic Power Rangers, I don't think that cast could be topped off. Like that, they really set the show to what it
Yeah, I used to watch Power Rangers.
is. Who was your favorite one?
Honestly, I would have to go with the Pink Ranger.
Yeah, Kimberly.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I thought it was some racial undertones. Like, think about it. They had the black guy as the Black Ranger, and then you had they had the Asian chick as the Yellow Ranger. Coincidence?
You know what? Yeah, I think they kind of had a little bit of slight undertones to it, but I guess they thought that. I don't think they really thought, that deep into it. They were just trying to make the thing go, hey, well, we don't want this show just to be strictly this, and this. We don't want to necessarily, you know, uh, attract a certain audience. We want to have a multitude of different ethnic to be attracted to. It's like, okay, everybody's being represented. Nobody, I didn't really see that many people being disrespected. And so when you have a show and it's been on for a certain time and you get to the point where it starts getting disrespectful, I'm like, I'm sorry, I can't watch
I think Power Rangers still come on. Last time I heard it was on Nickelodeon.
it. Yeah, well, I got Netflix, so there was like the old series, like the old top classic Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. I was able to watch that on Netflix, and man, I was just binge watching the shit out of that.
Yeah, I like the fact you can binge watch all these shows you used to watch.
Yeah,
It just takes you
it,
back. Like,
it,
oh, I
it,
remember this episode.
yeah. Even certain TV shows, well, not just TV shows, but hell, even certain YouTube videos, you can just binge watch, it just be like, really, like that's what was going on.
Yeah,
But
like I
yeah,
have Netflix, I have Hulu, I have Amazon Prime, and there's so many streaming sites to keep up with. Fuck.
yeah, it's like people not paying for cable no more. It's like it's like they want something new. It's like, hey, if you want streaming services where you don't necessarily ain't gotta pay a cable bill every month, then that's what they're gonna do. But yeah, but I also do want to just sort of go back to the Black Wall Street, massacre thing in a way.
Yeah.
Now, like you've heard, yeah, of course, you've heard of Jacksonville, Florida.
You, Jacksonville, Florida, yeah.
Now, even Jacksonville, Florida, has a bit of history too.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Which, you know, that it used to be considered a Navy city, and you also had a large aircraft carrier known as John F. Kennedy that used to be there, and those people that were working there, even going to John F. Kennedy aircraft carrier, they were stimulating the economy from black, white, Filipino, and it was all getting along. The problem was John F. Kennedy started to get information, and it was kind of getting up there in age. So John F. Kennedy, when that left the job, you had a population of almost 1 million people with no job.
Right.
And
Yeah.
it was just like nobody really had careers, and the best really, if you somehow happen to get lucky to get a job, you were getting paid like what, $9, $10 an hour top. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, it's like a lot of stories we've been not aware of. A lot of Black history that we don't know about.
no, it, and you know what? And the thing about it is because
Okay, Black Ghost. Good
all
night.
right,
You.
peace like that. But yeah, but that's what really is. But you know it though. But now is the time that these things need to be revealed. Yeah, of course it's gonna make people feel uncomfortable because they want to go off what they believe, what they always believe. They've been educated by a school teacher. Even these teachers don't really 9 times out of 10 don't even know what they're talking about. They're just going off the script. Hell, even certain doctors, you know,
Yeah, like
even
half the stuff I know is a teacher didn't teach me this shit. It's shit I had to go my way to learn. They don't teach you certain shit in school,
right.
especially when it's history.
And you know what? And what's funny about that is that just like out now again on Facebook, oh, you'd be amazed. But again, well, I just happen to find that I gotta look at it, like, oh, good. That makes sense. Like there was these World War I, World War II together that and these were black men, by the way, and they were talking about how they would laughing.
Oh yeah, one thing about it, like when blacks would, go overseas when they're in war or whatever, they were they were in a new environment and gave them, it was giving them ideas and shit when they came back to the United States during that time period.
And the thing about it is that, and again, and when they would go overseas, they would be getting, conditioned to believe that, oh, it's the enemy you need to worry about. And no, it was their own native countrymen and women that they needed to worry about, because they were the ones that was using the black race. But it wasn't necessarily the German officers, the German people that was, injecting them with all these different vaccines, and next thing you know, they catch uh, syphilis, or they catch a VD, or whatever disease that just happens to be, and it's like, no. I'm like, you think it's like, now think about it. Now, if you happen to, it's like, okay, now if I would have joined the military, right, and I happen to get tested for a STD, do you really think that I'm going to be there for a certain period of time, or going to be there long? No. Now, they may give me, like contraceptives, of course.
And and then like I noticed like African Americans love going to France back in the days. That's why Josephine Baker abandoned America and moved to France.
Yeah. And even her history is, even she's rarely talked about. Josephine Baker.
Yeah, she's a fucking legend.
Yeah. It's like, and you notice how, like, it's like, and I remember having a conversation with my family about it. When it comes to, like, let's say Martin Luther King Day, or Martin Luther King funeral, like, let's say goes to the house today, they'll put the Martin Luther King funeral, but not understanding what he actually did when he did about a thing. But because they were put Malcolm according to them, oh, he was so prepared. Yeah, yeah, they'll use the word rebellion for a greater cause, but because they wanted to see the type of black man or woman be the typical turn the other cheek. But yet, what got him killed was, a lot of people think that, oh, he got killed because he spoke out against the Vietnam War. It's like, nah, not really. He was actually teaching folks how to put their money together. And if you notice that the moment that money comes into the conversation, oh, that's when, oh, we willingly execute these people, get them off the planet, wipe them off the face of the earth. When it comes to the money,
Right.
and the thing about it is that there's actually a bank right now called One United Bank. Now, they say that it's a black-owned bank. I was a part of them before, but what I didn't like was how they'll take like a certain fee out of your checking account. You didn't really, even though I really didn't spend that much money on stuff, I just kept it as a little, a backup call, stuff like that. But
Mm.
the thing was how a lot of white banks versus black banks, they love pushing the agenda. Oh, we ain't gonna miss you, and your $250 or $350, that would, but yet that would show otherwise. So it's like, when you hear these things like, when it's like a certain business or a certain franchise that would take the information on dumb remarks to easily get to easily get them canceled. Because like deep down, it's like, which one is it? Do you want our money or don't?
Right.
Yeah, we can talk about certain liquors. We can talk about certain cars that really didn't necessarily want our business. Hell, Jay Z can tell you can tell you the story about Chris Saul.
Right.
They didn't. Yeah, they was like, yeah, hey, I want to, again, it's like, hey, I want to represent, again, this liquor company, or hey, I'll do some sponsorship. Then all of a sudden, it's like a lot of black people were drinking. It's like, well, I don't want, my liquor being uh, picked up or catered to by niggas. Like, all right, yeah, guess what? We can take our money and go somewhere else with it.
Exactly.
Just like, I'm trying to think, what was that car that didn't want necessarily? They really didn't want our dollars. I forget the name of this car, but even they were. I think it may have been Mercedes or Chrysler. One at the time they didn't even want nothing to do with it.
Mm.
They said, fuck you guys. We don't want to. We don't want you driving our cars. Okay, cool.
Right. We just take our money elsewhere.
And the thing is that when they start saying things like, or even when certain black folks would start saying things like, well, we ain't got the money like that, or we need the money. It's like, yeah, I agree. Yeah, we need the money, but what you're also beginning to realize that we, again, like you are basically the power of the, yeah, you have the power of the consumer. You can, again, that, it's like, yeah, because again, it's like, do you really think that they'll be able to do business without you if you weren't paying them?
Fuck no.
Yeah,
We as black people, we're the biggest consumers, but we don't own shit.
right. But guess what, over there? It's easy, but yeah, but it's like we can take that money and again, put it in our pockets and do something wise with it. Let alone even start our own business with it. Now again, it's not going to happen overnight, but
Yeah. I mean, we need to get back to how things were when our foremothers and forefathers owned shit. If we can get back to that in 2021 and beyond, we'll be good.
yeah, and also and also again, and also there'll be and also some changes that have to be implemented. And what those changes are would be like in a way for ignorant folks that are part of our community, they need to be out. When I say how they need to be exercised, that means I don't mean like exercise or just write them off. It's like nah, they don't represent us. I'll be damned if we're gonna allow them to represent us. I mean, hell,
They represent themselves. They don't represent the black
yeah,
race as a whole.
yeah. It's like and even and that's one thing that I kind of can say that I kind of admire about what the Jewish community does. Because Jewish community, they like are like tight with you know. You see a bunch of Jewish people getting together. Oh, it's like everybody's coming together in one. But then, uh, and again, the question was asked. Well, why do y'all stick together the way that y'all do? What makes y'all very tight and have that good relationship like y'all do? And of course, one of them said, "Well, we don't want to be judged by the weak today."
Now, they love doing business with one another.
Yeah, it's like, and again, but at that time, I was like, "What you mean the least of us?" And then it took me, and then all of a sudden, it's like, "Oh, okay, I get it. You mean the ignorant folks who happen to be, being part of the community, but yet they're just ignorant as fuck. So if they do something, y'all can easily dismiss them and go, hey, sorry, this person don't represent us. And we apologize. Like, okay, fine. Because hell, and even and it's like hell, and even with certain white folks, hell, they should have done this a long time ago with the rape.
Oh yeah, you ever notice anytime they justify fucking with us, it's always back to a fucking lie. Oh, you assisted a white woman, etc. Look,
I'm like, what you're doing is you're pushing an agenda that you heard somebody else said, and because you decided to embrace those ideologies, here you are, hell, killing Ruth.
yeah,
Because let's be honest, like, had we would have heard about you had you not went up and shot up that church in South Carolina. Hell, and here's the thing: how you come up in a, I think you had a two-parent household. How you come up into somewhere in a two-parent household and yet still want to kill, fresh people who don't necessarily look like you because of stupid shit, because of what you heard from somebody with a conservative point of view.
right.
Like, and again, it's like, and again, it's like even when like they're trying to say that, oh, the insurrection on January the 6th never happened, and it's like, yeah, it did. Yeah, it did. You're just trying to, again, make sure that, again, like the regular white folks don't be held accountable, and white guilt is necessarily, you know, get brought up into this. And I'm like, well, the truth, I'm like, it's already out
Yeah.
there. It's like so it's like when I hear, there's somebody trying to excuse these, trying to excuse these actions, I barely I have to like, that's like a face palm. Like y'all continue to support these people till the wheels fall off. Like y'all talk about being on code. It's like this is a false way of being on code.
Yeah, they move the goalposts.
Yeah. The way y'all move is just fucked up and it's, ridiculous. Have a fucked up way of, going about things. Oh, but it's easy to, I guess, get a whole bunch of black people acting damn fools. And it's like, yeah, okay. Uh, I see how y'all think. And my thing is this, and I remember telling somebody too that being, again, being, on this earth alive for as long as I've been alive on this earth, it can it can distort the human mind so much out of any other thing that you've ever seen with what you or I have ever seen before. And how
Right.
society can pretty much, as a way of it's one of the most interesting things I've ever been a part of ever in my life. And you gotta really know what it's like to have a mind and have character to back.
Exactly.
So but though, it's like, again, like there's certain things that you gotta keep very spirit. And keep a force field around you to where it's not necessarily that easy to just let stuff in. But a lot of folks don't live their lives like that. Really everything is face value.
Oh, okay, Randy. Person in chat room.
Yeah. But yeah, but and and that's the thing too. Like even when if you even if even though I've had stuff, that was said to me, it's like, it's like in a way, uh, even if there are certain things that I took personal, you still got to have that mechanism to offset. Now you put back on the new kid. Because too much of something this way can be too much. Too much of something this way can be too different.
Right.
And if, again, and if you're able to be on an even keel, it can steer you clear or off the wrong, steer you clear away from the opposite side of things.
True.
But at the same time, it's like but it's like I said, like certain people, like they believe that you. Oh man, I lost my train of thought again. But either way, it'll come back.
They put out a lot of Black Wall Street documentaries. Like I was literally binge watching all of them.
Yeah, and you know what, and that's the thing too, that that when it comes to again like certain stuff like this that rarely gets talked about, like it's been kept up, closed up, sealed in a box somewhere, doesn't mean that it's taking place. And hell, there's people that's still talking now that saying, yeah, I've had family members who were part of this massacre before, and we never we never got the answer. Their family never got it. So
Yeah, yeah, a lot of stuff get left out of our history books.
hell, even certain family members that you may have never heard about that even certain things you know about them that
Yeah.
never got put out. I mean, hell, I found out something about about something about my great grandpa. He was a World War I or two veteran, and how he served, how he served, and what he actually died of.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and his birth, and again, in his birth certificate said, or something said that he died from a BERS.
Mm.
Yeah, and of course, and anybody, for those who don't know or who does know what that is, that's the yeah, area scenario.
And black folks have been through a lot of trauma. It's like certain things you will have to ask your elders about because they there's times they don't even want to talk about shit that happened in their past back in those days.
Yeah, and you know what? Because now it's like if they tell it, some of them it really does something to them. They really don't want to go back into that dark place to where not necessarily feel emotion, but it's
Yeah.
like they've seen too much, they've seen a lot of bloodshed, seen a lot of people gone, a lot of children, a lot of women gone, and so we have to just talk about it, just to put that out. It can be scary, but then you got those that's like, oh well, I know, so I don't want to talk about it. Okay, there's just a lot of pain, there's a lot of hidden hurt, and a lot of hidden pain.
Yeah, it's like too painful for some of them to speak on because it was very traumatic for them. So they don't want to tell their family members what went down during that time period.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and also and again, it's like, and even like what the last two streams that you did about the whole femi- feminism uh talks and all that. Um,
Yeah, it's a controversial topic.
Yeah, you're right. And it's like, yeah. And I was, and again, I also saw this comment too, and I'm like, and I also agree. It's like it's like people get the word feminism and and feminazi, I believe, versus feminine and femininity confused. They all think it's one and the same. It's like, no, it isn't. Yeah,
Yeah,
they
it's like it's so many school of thoughts when it comes to feminism. It's
yeah.
not.
Now, it's like when they say, it's like, again, at the time, even I myself still got a lot of still got a lot to learn about it. But the thing is that when it's like when you speak on when people would speak on feminism, it's like they're coming from a place to where it's like they saw a lot of families, a lot of black families that being attacked right after the civil rights movement, and how now you know what, but and then I'm gonna get to this here in a second. They saw a lot of families, being attacked, not physically, but used by the government as a way to kind of put a screeching halt to the black family dynamic. But it's like, yeah, we understand that the government did some shit at that time, which they still got a lot to answer for. But even feminism kind of goes a long way more than what their explanation is. And it's like, again, and I still am the firm believer of, hell, I don't really think there should be no type of rule setting that changes us to where, a man is above a woman and no woman is above no man.
Yeah, I don't believe any sex is above the other. I just feel like we're all on this earth and we're just trying to live. I don't believe no one is dominate the other. I don't believe in all of that.
And the thing is, and you made it very clear that you're not a man hater. It's like, well, it may have been put that way, that was what feminism may have done, to where it's like, okay, I guess you're getting the womanness or the feminazi woman category thrown in there, the way the case is. Because think about it, it's like, when white men and white women were going back and forth, competing with one another, they were the main ones going out, wearing shirtless, braless shirts, and they were, burning bras, going out wearing going out shirts off, and they was mad, they was upset. Now I don't know if you saw this movie called "If These Walls Could Talk."
I think I heard of that movie.
Okay, it's with Demi Moore, Sissy Spacek, and Shay, and they were talking about what was going on in the white community regarding feminism. But I think they kind of worded it wrong to make it seem as though it was really about feminism, how the white household, even you even had, white women that was getting abortions, or they were getting ready to have a baby. That was like Demi Moore's character was, I can't have this baby. And she's talking to the woman that was playing her mom. And she was like disappointed. So they were getting abortions out for why. And Cher's character was a doctor, I believe, who worked at an abortion clinic. She's, she's getting abortion. She's doing abortion procedure. There was this dude that walked in and just shot her at point blank range.
Damn.
And I'm like, dang, you talk about extremism.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's really what people really need to be aware of, not necessarily white supremacy. because it's not really something that people can hold on to, but white extremists.
Yeah, these white extremists, kill they kill people, their frustrations in life. Like they kill people for the most dumbest shit.
And it's like, like back then when Bill O'Reilly used to have his show, and he would be making these remarks, again, like, y'all can go ahead and Google it. George Tiller, the baby killer. It's like, now, who was he saying that to attract? Was it us, people of color, or was it his main targeted audience, the people who look like
So we know
him?
the answer to that.
Yeah, we all know. And again, somebody actually did take him up on his offer and actually executed George Tiller, the baby killer. But I'm not, and again, I'm using those words not necessarily to be mean, but mocking him, mocking Bill O'Reilly. It's like you don't realize that you are the cause because this man got killed because of your work. But yet, no extremism, nobody ain't held accountable, not even you. Now, you could say, oh, well, they got him off the air. That ain't enough. That is not enough.
No, it's just like that extremist who killed them people at that church, and when he got arrested, they took his ass to fucking Burger King. Like who? Like what the fuck?
That just goes to show you the favoritism that they would show when it's one of them, in the life of crime. Like their thing is, well, you're one of us. You're not supposed to be in a world of crime bullshit.
Yeah, like he like that person like killed 9 people and he gets rewarded by taking his ass to fucking Burger King. Really?
Shoot, hell, if anything, hell, if it had been me in that situation, you wouldn't know what had happened to me. I would have been getting a beat down, or let alone get a couple bullet shells into my body because I shot up some people in a church. I don't get the exact same treatment. I don't.
Yeah, it's just like how there was another incident that happened where this white dude murdered a bunch of Asian women in Atlanta.
Oh yeah.
Talking about they were temptations. What the fuck?
And and at the top of it off was he had been in there before. He'd been in there before, and I guess he thought that he was going to get some type of special treatment. Just last time he went in there and it didn't work out in his favor. So, and that's the thing, like, when you, and that's why, again, they're called spoiled. And they talk about us being ungrateful. No, you need to apply those exact same words and logic to yourself when it comes to people being ungrateful. We ain't never satisfied. Oh, we the ones who beg. I'm like, but yet we can go check out the numbers. Y'all have got more government handouts and systems than all of us. Come on.
Yeah, they're always shitting on minorities about government handouts and shit, but it's like you all get handouts. What the fuck? You get food stamps, you get government assistance. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
You have no self awareness.
Yeah, and that's just another extremist lie that they gotta tell themselves to make themselves feel good. Just so, it's not as bad. Look at those other people of color. I'm like, y'all exactly pseudo party. I'm like,
And some of them are idiots. Like they'll vote against their well being. Like they'll vote Republican even though they rely on the government's help.
and you know what? And I'm also glad that you said that because again, these Republicans as of now, they're not necessarily traditional Republicans. The Republican that they know now doesn't necessarily mean what it actually means. These are just, folks who are just fascists who believe that everything that's different from you is supposed to be oppressed.
Right.
Meaning they were conservatives back then were more about helping, coming to an understanding, was less oppression than what we know as being a Republican or conservative as of today.
Yeah, they switch views. Like blacks back then would vote Republican because, like I said, Abraham Lincoln was a Republican, so we went with that party.
Yeah,
And then we went as Democrats because of that FDR guy, Franklin Roosevelt. He had a New Deal, and then we voted for that John Kennedy guy.
yeah.
So that's
It's
how
like,
we Democrat.
it's like and they love pulling on that. Well, it was the liberal. Well, it was the the classic Democrats that was all about oppressing people. They were help. They were the ones that was oppressing folks. We Republicans fought for y'all, but yet you forget Southern strategy. You forget Lyndon B. Johnson. You forget Lee Altwater. You forget Ronald Reagan. You forget, these are what these people forget.
Right.
Did y'all not? It's like, can y'all actually tell me that there wasn't necessarily a transition, that there was no transition going on during that time as slaves were free, still living in an oppressive society, trying to better themselves and better their families. But yet, there's no such thing as Southern strategy. There was no such thing as not supporting, yeah, being in favor of not of supporting apartheid. Oh, and not to mention, the war on drugs was not necessarily a Ronald Reagan, talking point he came up with himself. That was a Nixon talking point, or somebody who represented Nixon. Tricky did said all Ronald Reagan did was just popularize during his term.
Yeah, Nixon popularized the whole war on drugs, aka war on blacks.
Yeah, but and not only that, and again, he tried to clean it up. Well, we're not going to necessarily say that it's the war on black. We'll just say it's war on drugs because apparently y'all was fit again. It's like when you look at like certain tapes or certain video clips of black soldiers, in Vietnam, and then pretty much just became hooked up on drugs. They love showing that, but won't even point out that they were white folks that was just as much into the drug racing than people.
Yeah, people of all races um use the same amount of drugs and the same rate or whatever.
Yeah, and then and the thing about it is that a lot of those Vietnam vets actually became business owners.
Yeah, they were hooked on heroin.
How was that?
They were hooked on heroin. Those
Yeah,
Vietnam vets.
they actually became business. Again, like they had to start, building businesses, during that time. That was something that I didn't even know. But yet, let them tell it. And that's the thing, too, that, because they tell our stories from their point of view and from their eyes, how they see things. And it's like, and again, my father told me this a long time ago that, what, you want to tell your story. But it's so easy for people to just talk talk for you and just make things up and blow it out of proportion and actually know that that's the end all be all. Like you're the problem. I'm
Exactly.
like, no. I'm like, that's why I'm like, it's like, hey, you want to hear something from me, I'm gonna give it to you. If you don't have to agree, but you don't have to agree with me. You don't. So
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, it's like, again, like just thinking about it now, even with the master, it's like, and in a way, it's like I kind of can see why they really didn't want to talk about. I mean, you can acknowledge the town, but you don't have to acknowledge to a portion of why that town became what it is, without the massacre. Because like I said, when you hear the word massacre, you can't help but show
Right.
it. And like I said, again, it's like even going back to what Black Justice saying that, yeah, we still go through things, we still been going through. It's like, yeah, it's come to think about it, when we vote, we mobilize, we play their game, we actually get results. They don't like it. Going back to your point about moving and goalposts. But then want to talk to us about, the votes being, there's no voter suppression, or there's no, ain't no voter fraud going on, but yet somehow you're able to convince your audience that there is voter fraud. So you limit the voting machines or early voting.
They're trying to suppress blacks' votes. They're trying to do that.
Oh yeah. Again, they hate it when we beat them at their own game.
Oh yeah.
And it's like that's kind of what it is. It's like, what? They're actually getting, they're actually mobilizing, they're actually getting people. Yeah, we are. Whether you think that we did it underhanded, it's like, no, I thought we had a right to vote.
Yeah, we fought to have that right to vote. The fuck? Of course we're gonna take advantage.
But then you also have these folks who, it's like, yeah, they'll, it's like, well, they'll serve the country, but yet what the principles that they're fighting for, it's like, and even people that happen to be in office, again, they did not read not one word of the Constitution, but yet they're claiming that they're fighting for Americans. Only come to find out that they're fighting for a very small group, themselves included.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, if you would ask, well, what is it? Would there be a GOP president if you could ask? Yeah, I could, and that would be, General Colin Powell. But y'all hate General Colin Powell.
Nickel Power School, right?
But General Colin Powell, he got no problem calling them out though. Even though he is a Republican himself, he got no problem standing up to him. He ain't no pushover or kiss ass like these other people are.
That's true.
And, and again, the white, and also the white boys, they mad at him because, 5-star general.
Oh yeah.
So that's also, again, they want to talk about black resumes. That's a black resume of excellence right there. Like y'all just got a problem with it because it's not you.
Yep.
Just like any stupid, silly Negro that still try to say that, oh, well, he ain't really. I'm like, okay, it's like, what makes him not? Oh, he's like this. Well, then that's the case. Well, hell, I might as well not be really black then.
Right?
or hell, even it sounds to the boy LDY. Hell, he might as well not be really black then. I'm not, if that's the case. Just so y'all know, hey, if you happen to be part of a certain phenotype, Not
Hey,
really.
blacks. Hey, us black people, we come in all shades.
Yeah. But yet but yet though then the certain people want to be like, oh, they only want to see one particular black. It's like, no, that ain't gonna happen. That is not gonna happen. I don't know where you get that from. That's like, okay, it's like, well, so there can only be one version of white. There can only be one version of Asian. Really? Well, then that means the Japanese will have to go, the Koreans will have to go, the Vietnamese have to go, the Thais would have to go, the Mongolians will have to go. Like, quit moving the damn goalpost just to put some agenda. Sorry, agenda having ass. Hey, I guess this conversation must be too deep for people. It's too deep for people.
Right.
And that same troll that came in here, the one that was, had no problem blowing
Yeah,
up the
they're
world.
triggering our conversation. We were talking about black excellence. They just got triggered and hurled the N word, spamming my fucking chat.
But why how that's whether it's a he or a she is probably gonna be like they
Yeah,
mad.
they big mad.
No, it's not. We can be annoyed, but mad, nah. You what you hearing is passion.
Yeah, I like triggering these bigots.
And like I said, and he had the opportunity to click the link if he or she wanted to, and so it's like, all right, well, what did we get wrong?
Yeah, they spam my chat with the N word. It's like, okay, do better than that, bitch.
Yeah. Like, all right, like, hey, we wrong. Hey, tell us why we're wrong. Tell me why I'm wrong. I was like, all right, well, I'll take that into consideration. Thanks. People think that over. Well, you have a problem when you don't make a mistake. No, I do not. If I'm not spot on about something, I'm sure somebody's going to let me know.
Right?
Whether it's like, okay, well, like somebody can say something because, well, I disagree, but it is what it is. But if you're going to throw insult and anti-Semitic remarks, if you're just going to call us names about the wild group, then you already know you're wrong. So that was just a self-defeating itself.
No, they didn't want our convo. It was getting to them. It was triggering them.
And that's the thing too, man. And even another thing that trips me out is they want us to get together and do our own thing, but yeah, when we do, you always gonna feel like you're a part of it. I'm like, you weren't necessarily invited.
Yeah, like you weren't invited to the cookout. Like, why are you here? So many questions. They don't like us, but they want to be around us at the same time. Which is it?
Mental illness, mental disorder.
They want to feel included.
Yeah, they want to be included. It's like their life is over, their life is wasted away, and they got again. It's like they got nobody beside with them, hang out with their personal lives, so they just have to back talk all this shit that they want.
And when they feel impressed so bad, they want to up someone. You talk about your oppression, they want to up you. Like, damn, we have
Like,
shit for ourselves.
we've been oppressed, not you. Okay, and
Where's our white history month?
yeah, it's like okay, so where's our okay, so where are these footage of black people, black men and women alike, just lynching white folks, like out of droves, like y'all been doing. Like where just like where in the history books where
Hi, Randy.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, panel.
what's
Hey,
going on?
So you want to discuss the Black Wall Street 100th anniversary?
Yes. I thought you was a swirler. Like, how can
No,
you talk about black issues when you're a swirler? You said you was a
who says
feminist and a
I'm
swirler.
not a swirler. I date who I want, but I'm not a swirler.
That's swirling, man. That's not being pro-black. How can you talk about black issues if you're a swirler? See me, I'm a pro-black. I'm a real serious pro-black.
Pro
So I
black
believe
is for the betterment of black people.
no, it's about black people being together, building together, not dating out interracially. And you can't talk about pro-black issues if you're not pro-black.
Who says I'm a swirler? I never said I was a swirler.
Dating out interracially is swirling, ma'am.
Sir, I don't care who anyone dates.
So, do you know? I mean, you don't even know your history about this topic. Like you're talking about something that you don't even know about. What
I do
day did
know
this?
what are you talking about. I know about this topic very
What
well.
day did this start? Like, what day did this Black Wall Street?
It happened May the 31st, 2000. I mean, 20. It was 1921.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Why
I'm
was it
very
started though? Do you know the history of it?
yes, I know the history of it. You must have missed my big show because I talked about this.
Yeah, I must have came late then, cause I just came like probably like 30 minutes ago. So okay, that's so you're not a swirler, or
I
okay?
never
That's
claimed to be a swirler.
oh, I probably got that wrong. Okay, y'all can like continue. I'll just go back in the chat. Okay, thank you for having me. All right, bye.
Okay.
All right, peace.
All right. What the fuck?
Anywho,
when the hell did I ever be a swirler?
I I don't ever recall that at all.
Yeah, I never said I was a swirler.
I mean, like, all you get, you talk about the history, all that, things like that. If you happen to see something, like,
So,
it's like, okay, yeah, it's like,
Wall Street happened in 1921. Who doesn't know that?
yeah, 1921.
Yeah, it's a 100th anniversary. That's a long ass time for that to happen.
And again, like I said earlier, I've been out to the location, saw the monuments, saw the statues, saw the writing, and it's like, again, places like Tulsa, Oklahoma, Greenwood, even Durham, North Carolina, again, like even Durham, North Carolina, there is definitely given a lot of history.
Yeah, it's so many thriving black communities from back in the days that we're not aware of. And like I said, I knew about Black Wall Street prior to the documentaries. But that's some shit I had to go on my way to learn about. I wasn't taught none of that in school.
And that's the thing too. Like what they don't teach you at school, it's like it's like in a way you kind of have this, well, I guess, but then when you really learn the things that they don't teach you in school, I mean, because that's the thing too. Like the educational system, I mean, they only teach you three things: read, write, and read. But they don't teach you how to make money. They don't teach you how to take care of it.
Right.
Oh, he said, "Oh, my bad. Oh, my bad. I must have heard wrong. I'm really a nice person. I really said like this. I'm so black. I love the top. Cool. and that's the thing. And that's the thing too. It's like I mean, yeah, of course, you can sort of go that there's certain things to have a skill and to have a trade. I mean, yeah, there's vocational schools for that, of course.
Yeah.
There's vocational schools, and there's hell, even on the job type training for certain things. I'm like, nobody's gonna, again, it's not like, you can go to a history class and they teach you how to be a post office worker. It's not like you can go to a shop class and they actually teach you how to ride an electric pallet jack and let them off the fork.
Yeah, like some stuff you just gotta learn as you go along because these people don't teach you certain stuff that you should know, but you don't learn this shit in school.
And the thing about it was the school system was basically designed for us to, again, to get, enrolled. I mean, hell, you even got uh, a handful of black students being diagnosed with a learning disability because they get a special education class, and then when they try to go out and become something, here they are being locked up in a penitentiary. So that's the part of the school system has failed. But
Yeah.
I think people that they don't see that. So it's like, all right, well, it's not again. Now I'm not gonna sit here and I go, oh, I know everything. Well, I'm the most smartest person in the world because I'm not. It's like there's a certain. It's like if I see bullshit, it's like, I don't. I may have to. It's like there's certain things that would just keep you up at
Right.
night. And but though, but I think that there's going to be more. Just like this documentary here, there's probably going to be more stuff coming out. Sort of
Oh,
similar.
yeah, for sure.
And and that's the thing too. It's like and even Oklahoma itself is. And that's the thing. That's where again originally the hippie movie actually took place in Oklahoma.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I can attest to that because my mom is a hippie.
Man, only thing about Oklahoma is the fucking tornado alley, man.
Yeah, you're not lying about that though. It is tornado out, and hell, it's even like that in Kansas too, where you'll have like certain tornado watches. Because
Yeah.
I used to live in Kansas, so I would go get my family really fast, travel to Oklahoma to see my brother, and we had to come right back, and it's like, all right, well, what's the weather gonna be like? If it's raining, it's gonna rain, but no, but with that snow though in the Midwest, oh, it sucks. It sucks. It's like it'll stick to the ground, and you would have to shovel it. Like I remember happening to shovel snow before I went to work, and
I wouldn't want to be involved in no tornado. I'm good. I'm good straight on that.
and that's the thing too that and that's the thing too. Like I know the time because even though I didn't necessarily live there, but I like kind of like just hung around for a bit, and I may have not have been around long enough to see or witness a tornado.
Yeah.
And even when even when it comes to my brother, I gotta ask, like, yeah, how do y'all understand. It's like, what y'all normally do to, to prepare yourself for a tornado? It's like, oh man, you know what? I mean, yeah, if they come around, but 9 times out of 10, they would normally out of our reach. Oh, so they wouldn't necessarily come to y'all. Yeah, but we do have an attic, so like, all right, fair enough. But yeah, but that's Midwest, Mid South life for you. And what else? So, oh yeah, I don't know if you heard of this music group called High Five.
What's the name?
The group is called High Five.
High Five. Oh yeah.
Yeah, High Five. The lead singer Tony Thompson.
Oh yeah, he's dead now.
Yeah, he was actually from. He's originally from Oklahoma, but he moved to Texas, and that was where the group originated from. You know, a Texas group. Because Oklahoma and Texas are not necessarily that far from each other.
Like Oklahoma to me, I think I would consider it like a Midwest region.
And you know, hell, like, and you know what was funny was also, but because I used to live in Kansas, you can go in, but it makes it impossible for you to leave because you could be driving out and you got cut through so much of these roads, just makes it impossible for you to leave. And but the moment that we stopped in Colorado, oh, I felt like I was in a new world, like in Colorado. But
Colorado seems cool.
What's that?
Colorado seems cool.
Oh yeah, it is. Even though, yeah, of course, even they got a certain messed up history itself, but other than that, it's a very nice place to visit. Though.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, though, and that's the thing too. It was like like you need, what, like, even though people may say like, oh, Atlanta, Georgia, of course, it now it even still being known as the Black Mecca of America.
Right.
And my thing is, I'm like, yeah, okay. Yeah, a lot of prominent figures and a lot of prominent historical things that taken place, good, bad, or indifferent.
Yeah.
And I couldn't tell you, I mean, hell, like, because I'm part of the cigar community, and in order to be a part of the cigar community, not only just being cut it, light it up, and smoke it. These are actually brothers that are just actually rolling it by hand. Brothers and sisters, they'll just roll it up by hand because they have to use tobacco, not necessarily paper, like cigarettes do. Because it's just mainly tobacco and certain fillers. And the thing about it is that there was like a point in time where it's like, that would be like a pretty impressive skill to learn. Because it's like, because again, it's like, but you really have to be like very precise and very patient. It's like there's recently I rolled up a Latino, which is like a Filipino egg roll, and Oh, when I tell you these things were good and they actually came out, it's perfect.
You said Filipino egg roll?
Yeah.
I never had that. Tried that before. A Filipino one. I never had that.
Actually, my mom found the recipe and she was doing it, so I helped her out a bit. So how to, take the, how to just like take the egg roll in the middle of it and just roll it. And again, it does take some skill to even roll it. Just roll it up like it's perfect. Like you gotta keep doing one better than the other. But I'm trying to think, it was a mix of chopped onions and what are those things called? It's kind of strange.
Me too, Randy.
Yeah, I can't think of it right now. But anyway,
Mhm.
and again, it's like everybody again is so quick to point out it's like well, we just get this brought up to do slaves and just do shiftless Negroes. Like no, no. I wonder where do y'all get that from? Or we just so shit. Not saying that you don't have shiftless Negroes that exist, but to paint all of us with one brush, no. It's right here. Right here. I guess if Martin and Malcolm were still alive and that was what he was thinking, then yeah, he would have they would have every right to slap all of them and punch us in the chest for all the hard work, sacrifice that they try to do only for us to be correct.
Exactly.
Oh, but why you making here? Why you making babies with like why you making babies and yet you have no chance to get married? No, I wanted the same thing. Or why you actually doing this? The thing is, it's got to the point where it's like you can't really tell nobody nothing. Can't tell nobody nothing. They're just that stuck in their way. I mean, hell, it's like they were trying to shame Monique all because he said, "Hey, y'all need to be wearing, bonnet top coat." Like, if you go, it's like, do you wear? It's like you should not be, again looking like the way you walk out of your house without fixing yourself up. I believe. I'm like, yeah, you have a valid point. Like, who does the house looking any which way and not fix yourself up and not look for
Oh.
I'm like, that's how you want people to look at you. And unfortunately, yeah, 'cause right now, it's like how you may look at yourself. It's a different world when you step out into society and they show from their point of
Yeah, they'll catch the replay, Randy. And plus, I start this live kind of late.
view. And they probably won't care too much about my little commentary. I know I know I'm on your panel, but
I mean, I like talking about a variety of topics.
oh yeah, yeah,
I don't place limitations. I just talk about whatever.
right. But yeah, though, but it really does go to show that yeah, we've been making strides even back then during the tough times, and even somewhere still till now. Regardless of regardless of the moving the goalpost, Like we can't be versatile or we can't necessarily like. And don't you think that again the most it's like they want us to have like a limit? We must be limited.
Yeah, like we can't walk and chew at the same fucking time.
Yeah, yeah. Or we can't kiss the shit.
Hold on a second. Hold on a second. Hold on. I'm back with you.
But yeah, though that's and the thing is that or neither they act as though we can't kiss the shit at the same time either. But that's the natural human function that they're basically like you don't want us to be human. You want us to be other. It's like y'all just like you look at us, you see a bunch of bugs you can just squash at any moment because you can. And it's like my thing is like if you really feel that way, we know for these motherfuckers, to me they ought to have a time that they can just travel back to. And I would be more than happy to operate that motherfucker. Just throw them back out. And them old oligarchs who bred today's modern day dishonest folks, especially the racists, it's like you could have did the world a favor and just off yourself a long time ago instead of procreating to carry on whatever you think what you believe should be belonging to
you. Right?
I'm just like, so again, it's like, like I said, which one is it? Because you can't have both. And by the way, why are you claiming something that's so? You've been claiming America was yours for so long. It's like America is a melting pot which you guys sold.
Yeah, like America loves saying how we're all created equal, but they don't live up to it, to that motto, whatever.
And and a lot of stuff, a lot of the stuff that Americans have been, trying to idolize from other countries, it's like it's not necessarily their own idea. They've been idolizing the way Europe's been doing things for over 50 years.
Exactly.
Yeah. Europe, again, like Europe is like, yeah. We're 50 years behind Europe, but yet 100 years behind everywhere else. That's why motherfuckers need to learn their history. Because history will be repeating itself when you don't read it. And apparently these motherfuckers don't know how
to. Yeah.
So when you hear, oh, we want to cut spending, or we want to cut spending on education, we want to dumb down the people that's living in America for the proper decent education.
Yep.
Meaning that when they write or when they talk. Now again, don't get me wrong. Now sometimes, I happen to stutter a lot, but that doesn't necessarily mean because I have a poor education. It's like no, these things happen.
Exactly.
Like they don't mean that they're better than me or I'm better than them.
Yeah, we're just stating facts.
Yeah.
Too many people don't want to hear the facts.
And another thing that Will Smith, and shout out to him, he said like that.
Hey, come back. Hey, come back. Fix your mic a little.
But yeah, though, but that's the thing.
Yeah.
That yeah, racism is out being enforced, not anything new. Yes, and back then, hey, back in the '60s, you really didn't know what happened all this, other than just showing a little small portion. That's all. That's part of it. Part of it. So it's like, okay, so you want us to be just like, oh, I'm gonna be fucked up and said it. Like, okay, so y'all washing us out like y'all do me, but at the same time, you want to season us, and then when it's time to go for the kill, you're gonna sit dog. It's like, dang, you couldn't at least put us in the grill first. I mean, yeah, but
Yeah.
y'all don't even really. It's like, I don't know what y'all want to do. If y'all want to, yeah, like make it seem so hell, like what y'all did to the Jews, y'all want to do to us, but actually so like, oh well, we just gonna forget what happened with the Jews, even though nah, that ain't good. That ain't not giving you a pass.
Right.
Oh, who you were saying to come back on the panel?
Oh, your mic was kind of low. I was trying to hear
Oh,
you.
there? Oh,
Yeah.
oh, I didn't even know. Man, oh, this microphone could be a pain in the ass.
Yeah, I've just been learning about my history and what have you.
Yeah.
Hey, I gotta go out my way to research stuff.
Hey, but you know what though? But like, I seriously can't wait for like, the moment that they start talking about the '80s of it. That's another reason why they went poor, or they suffered finances and economics.
Yeah.
They got rid of their oppressors, and they hit, again, just like how Cuba is hit with the trade embargo. Hell, they hit Haiti with the trade embargo. Said no one trades with them, and that's how they went broke. And Haiti wasn't always broke, but yet we're supposed to yet they're supposed to pull themselves up by the bootstrap.
Yeah, it's like you're saying that, but the times we were trying to thrive, you fucked that up and burned our shit to the ground. You murdered our people. I mean, what the fuck? You sabotage shit every time we try to be successful.
Oh, because they thought that they thought that we were supposed to be kind of dependent on them and only dependent on them, like it was automatic default.
Yeah, they don't want us to be self sufficient and thrive. No, they can't have that.
And I'm like, and and what's funny is how they'll be so quick to throw somebody else in the mix who really ain't really done all that much to it as a way of trying to, as a little, cheap shot. Well, look at these immigrants. They're outperforming you. Sooner or later, they're gonna get, tossed off to the side, just like you do. You're gonna treat them like you're doing now, just like y'all did us. So no one's meant to walk away.
Yeah, and the thing is, it was a ploy to get
other minorities to go at other minorities. It's a divide and conquer. And the thing is, they were so accepting of when the Chinese came to this country, when they built those railroads, they treated them like a fucking foreigner, and they had that Chinese Exclusive Act, which means they were allowed to come to this country. So they missed me with that shit with the whole model minority shit. They try to pin against other minorities, but the thing is, they're not all doing well. That's the kicker. It's like, which Asian group are you talking about? They're diverse just like anyone else. They're not monolith.
And that's also the thing too, because it's like, just like, and that's the thing too. It's like they don't have. It's like when it's like, yeah, not saying that there's white people, don't apply, that apply. But here's the thing, like, just puralization or purism for them doesn't always pan out well for them. It doesn't.
And not to mention the microaggression they have to deal with when they ask an Asian person, where are you from? No, where are you really from? They still get, even though they've been in this country, they still get treated like an other or foreigner, what have you.
Oh, yeah.
So there goes that whole model minority bullshit.
Right. And the thing is that, hell, and even for certain things, again, like, there'll be a lot of businesses that, again, like, a long time ago, I found out that there was, actually brothers who owned a lot of Asian restaurants, but Asian people were running. And at the time, it was like, oh, wow, really? And like, I didn't know that, but okay. But then they'll work it out to try to buy it out eventually of the ownership hands of, brothers.
Yeah.
That was, at a certain period of time. I don't know how it is today, but so again, it's like, because white, like, again, purism and white versus ethnicity is, because again, like, how long? Because again, also, and another question is, could you actually tell an Irish guy from a Scottish guy, or do they all look alike?
See, the only way I would know is if I can only go by someone's last name. Like, if it's along the lines of O'Reilly or anything starting with an O, I will know you have Irish descent.
Of course, you can tell that, but physically, physically appearance.
Honestly, I would just see them as just a regular old white guy, or white person, or what have you.
Exactly.
It's just like I can tell an Asian person apart based off their last name.
Yeah, me too.
Like a last anything starting with a Kim, I know you're Korean.
Yeah. Or Young, but it's spelled Yeon. It's like, okay, you're different. But if it's something like a tie or Nikai or something, I'm like, yeah, you're definitely Japanese. But if it's mainly or what have you, yeah, you're Cantonese or Chinese. If you happen to have some Mandarin wrong,
or anything with a last name with Nagasaki, I will know you're Japanese.
Yeah. Or especially like those Thai folks, they have them long last names that it's hard to pronounce. You just be stuck with it's, it's like trying to pronounce a Thai person's last name, and it's so long, and then you see all these letterings. And it's like, what did y'all? How you pronounce this? If you can, but but the thing is that and another thing, and also it's like again like when it comes to like like the wheels on meals, and again going back to where it's like everybody goes to breakfast, it's like nah, that was actually something that the Black Panthers started. They also wanted government assistance on things too, including
Right.
where people wouldn't vote, so that way people wouldn't starve. That's what people. That's what again like again why. Not, it's not necessarily just a money thing why America was simply on decline. Hell, it's basically starvation, food related.
Yeah.
Right, people, being a lot more in poverty due to food than they do, having money.
Right.
But, but yet, there's like there's so much you can, like so much intel, so much things that you can. Now, I'm not saying that, even I myself don't have, don't always be right about it. It's just again like to me like again like certain stuff that's been for so long, and they try to take it as the gospel, like it's the gospel. It's like the more you keep spreading this propaganda, the more people will start to believe it.
Yeah.
It's like nah, this is not this is that you have an agenda, and you have a problem with the real shit coming out. Now that it is coming out, what y'all did. Or of course, y'all, it's going to be people who say, nigga, nigga, nigga. Okay, what y'all I was wrong with? So, oh, and by the way, tell Curly Sue that, again, to tuck herself in real tight because our own brother's going to come in there and perform some inbreeding on us later on. Oh, inbred ass sleeping with your own sister. Don't speak dressed up like he's wearing something, wearing one of them dresses like Little House on the goddamn crib. Looking like something that, again, you see one of those dresses off of Polygamy Ranch. Polygamy.
Polygamy.
Yeah. Everybody know what that is.
Yeah, it's like you have more than one spouse.
Yeah. And these spouses can be the same age as you or underage.
Yeah, it goes on.
Yeah. Like, ugh. Like, so a 50-something-year-old man can sleep with a well, technically 19. You're a young adult, but you're not necessarily an adult yet. But if you're a 50-some-year-old man and you going out with like a 14, 15, 16, yeah, you're a freak. Yes, you are a freak. You need to have your dick cut off.
Right.
Like, why you gotta say that? Because I can't. Hell, imagine if it was your daughter. Hell, you'd be wanting the same thing. Oh, but let not the man be black. Let the man not be minority. But he can be white and you. and still penetrate something that's illegally, yeah, illegally regardless of age. Make that make sense.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, well, I'm ready to see her. I'm ready. Yeah, I'm definitely ready to snake out the grass now. I this bad. Because you know that somebody, yeah, y'all know it's about 21 seconds. Yeah, y'all go and find it. And if you notice, right, they go for the skinniest one that's built like skinny dude. Talk about, well, we're surviving R. Kelly or surviving Neverland. But yeah, where's the surviving Donald Trump? Surviving as mind Kevin Spacey or even some of the Catholic Church. Where the survivors of those, documents nowhere to be found. You have one fool that's like, well, she wasn't my daughter. Yeah, you didn't even have to proceed any further. I know maybe she wasn't your daughter. You just said a fucking.
You think polygamy should be legal in this country?
What's that?
You think polygamy should be illegal in this country?
Hell no. And I'm gonna tell you why. Because
Why?
let's see here. Marriage. Now, you know people that's been married before. Why would you want 8, 9 more of them?
Shit.
Why?
Put it like this: if you can afford them, hey, go ahead and marry multiple people at the same time.
Right. Yeah, but no, but normally, we know, hell, good hell well, nobody ain't gonna want 8 more of them when you take care with one. I'm like, hell, I mean, if you wanted to live that, not just the same thing, but hell, you could do what Hugh Hefner did, at least have a pension or something, and just, I don't want to say you name it Playboy, at least, I don't know if he has any, if he even got married to all the women that spent time at Playboy now.
Good question.
Somewhat, but, but polygamy? Hell no.
Well, I know in Muslim countries they can only marry at least 4 women in their religion.
Right.
At least.
Well, kind of like what, Muhammad Ali did. Like what Muhammad Ali did.
He was married multiple. He was married at the same time, multiple people.
I know he was. I know that he would be with a certain woman, and then he would they divorced and they would break up, and then he would marry another woman. Then at that
point, that's different. He was a serial monogamist.
But again, it's like, now of course, like, well, hey, he had the money he had, but yeah. Again, the hell that you catch him with one.
Yeah.
Imagine imagine somebody else in this, so-called, stewards would attempt to try something like that. Be like, well, I got all. I'm like, no, you don't. You just wasting everybody's money and everybody's time with this fool.
I mean, each their own. Hey, if you feel you can
Yeah.
handle multiple spouses, hey, go ahead at it.
But and that's and the thing about it is that also when it comes to like let's say like marriages and relationships now, I say, hell, in a relationship you can leave it your own will. Ain't no papers got to sign, ain't no money being, you know, well, majority of the time. But ain't no money being, talked about or given. You can just leave it your own free will. It's not paper obligated by paper. Marriage is.
Yeah, it's the only difference. If you want to get out of a marriage, you gotta sign those papers. But if you're not married, you don't have to worry about it. Just break up.
Yeah. But no, I'm not gonna say because motherfuckers be like, well, we are treating just like y'all do marriage, and I'm like, hell no. And you see how fast the marriage rate's gonna decline if they ain't, declining up to the nth degree already.
Yeah.
Well, go ahead. Like I would love to see this. Like we're in a relationship, so yeah, and I'm breaking up, and I was fine. I'm like, hell no. It's like I think there's people who come up with these ridiculous ideologies or these ridiculous, you know, whatever ideals you have. It's like y'all are just basically trying to stop the birth rate of the country. Like we're basically gonna be like, Japan, like with Japan, birth rate decline, marriages decline, relationships, yeah, if you're lucky.
Oh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, but I had fun, again, like, talking about this. So I, share my whatever 2 cents of my, Greenwood,
Oh yeah.
Greenwood and all that. And it's a lot of historical moments, trials, tribulations, heartache, bounce back, or a great comeback. I mean, the thing is, and again, the question is, why it takes so long to talk about this? We had to wait till this, like, what, 2021? And
That's a
still,
long ass time to address
yeah,
the elephant in the room.
yes. Oh, because it defeats the purpose. It defeats uh, the narrative of you late. It defeats the purpose of the conservative talking. If
Yeah.
if you want to be, yeah, if you want to be Texas, yeah, it defeats the narrative, and they can't until they keep using that same old clickbait. Well, these people need to, these people need to do for themselves. These people need to quit begging. Were these people back then begging? Were these people
Right.
again access to handouts on a regular basis, like people who normally have welfare in their pocket on standby, or was it because you just don't want to see so anybody else do well as long as it's not you, if you're not you want to control? And that's what it is. Now, not only is it a financial thing, but it's kind of a control thing. They got to be the ones in control.
That too.
like, hell, what else you gonna control? My reproductive, well, my genitalia, my reproductive organs.
They want to control everything.
Yeah, got hell. Y'all about to control who I, get stick my dick into. Not like y'all would never know. But yeah, but these motherfuckers tripping out. Like I said, there's gonna be more documentaries like this coming up.
Right.
It answers the questions, and it really uncovers the blanket that's been covered for a lot of years.
Right.
And you know what? If I was like, let's say, a ghost whisperer, and the people who was around at that time, if I could just somewhat kind of like, what's his name, John F. I think so. If I could get talk to them, like communicate with the dead, it's like, the question I would be asked, well, was there any other things that, again, that, if you knew that this was going to happen, would you prepare a lot better than what the preparation has been before? And is there like anything that we should tell, also for those who don't know, is there anything that we should?
Right.
If there isn't, then it's like, hey, I can live with that. Yeah, it's like, what's funny is that we were talking about Prince, because Prince has a birthday coming up, and he literally has no will.
That's important to have a will.
Yeah, but apparently he don't.
Huh.
It's like he ain't leaving his family. I guess he's all in his music. All in his music. But yeah, anything else that you also want to talk about, or?
I think that's it. We covered a lot, really.
Yeah, we did. But then again, probably the next, panel goes. I was like, man, I forgot to touch up on this point, but oh well.
It was good. It was nice having this discussion about Wall Street.
Yeah.
It's good to learn about things that were.
Then it goes to show, it's like, yeah, black people historically, we really contributed a lot, regardless of, we contributed a lot, get throughout this, despite, the downfall, unfairly downfall, because of, personal agenda.
Right.
And even still, you still have, folks that still going to be, on the whole, well, if you don't like it, then why don't you just leave? And then what? You going to move the goalpost again?
That's what they always do, move the goalpost.
Yeah, and again, and also, like I said, y'all got no issues when it's fuckery between them. Y'all stick around for the part. Y'all stick around and watch us battle it out. But the moment we talk about uniting and talking about money,
oh yeah, that's when they switch.
Yeah, they switch up with the quick. They be switching their hips from left and right. They got to pull that dress up and reveal what type of panties they got.
True.
Like get the fuck out of here, man. Like everybody know y'all sensitive.
Yeah, they
Talking about
resort to racial slurs. So triggered by positivity and the truth and facts.
oh, there ain't shit. You know, again, like how they talk like, well, they ain't shit. I can't stand man. Okay, well if you can't stand me or us, you know where to go. Just take a rest.
Yeah.
Yo down
It's
go
like we didn't invite y'all to the cookout, you bigot.
yeah. Can't stand your funky ass either. But yeah, you think it's like, you know, but yeah, you want to make it's like you gotta make your presence known. Yeah, they just want to be known. They want to be seen. But yet
Right.
you want to be seen at the same time. You know, it's like what you want to do. Just throw you just throw you the table strap. Like you see a dog, you just throw it. You know how they would do. You know, they would give a dog certain pieces of meat they didn't eat.
Yeah.
Okay, like that's how I don't treat you. But you're still not into the party. What? Yeah, you heard. Not invited. So bye bye. See you later. But here, you ain't gonna, you know, there ain't gonna be no other tragedy up here. It being like that cop that you said in North Carolina took out trying to do the WAP.
Yeah.
Oh man, it makes me laugh. Like, whatever it is.
This was a good discussion.
Oh yeah. Like I said, I can't wait for the next.
Oh yeah. No controversial. I like talking about a variety of shit.
Yeah. And you know that just really goes to show you. Yeah, it ain't always just about fuckery. I mean, yeah, we may do it in the past, but that ain't necessarily the main topic.
Yeah, everything don't have to be fuckery. We can chew gum and walk at the same damn time.
Yeah. Sorry about that. That was my phone. Yeah. But yeah, you know, and again, wasn't really too many people minded that, you know, big one that came to it and did it.
Yeah.
Yeah, mine is the big one. I had at least mad because, you know, they're like, you know, you can't believe you ain't gonna be able to enjoy it like to really have a dialogue without using personal attack.
Exactly.
And you know, again, people like that ain't.
No?
I'm like, you know, whatever God has in store for you, you deserve everything you get. Especially the bad stuff, you deserve what you get.
No, for sure.
But where's Christian? God and Christian? Sure you are. But yet you broke every commandment of the Bible. You're a fake Christian.
Yeah, they love bringing God into this while not loving their brothers and sisters, but okay.
Yeah. So was this God? But again, so when you attack, so again, like you know, with the Black Massacre, was that God's plan for you to attack the way that you do it?
Yeah, committing terrorism.
Because that's what it And all of you who participated really should have been arrested.
Facts.
Locked away behind bars with the key thrown away. Talking about
Another
y'all
fact.
what was the bullshit they said they were trying to do? Get justice. Justice for who? Oh, a fucking lie?
Yeah. That's all they do is lie. So they can justify why they oppress blacks.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, justify their oppression, and compromise the nation.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, y'all been having y'all free reign far too much and far too long in 2021, and you still want to see that same old bullshit. Like we're supposed to be, jumping up to hate.
Right.
It's like, no, I don't know what it's like. It's like, yeah, Paul Mooney said, yeah, every German Shepherd you got, guess what? We got pit bulls. Let's let them fight. Man, all these people get on my side. We're smelling like, big ass tank smoke. But we know we ain't gonna go there. That's gonna be another time. But yeah, again. But yeah, I had a wonderful time. There wasn't too much, negativity up there. Been talking about these folks, the historical facts.
Oh yeah.
There's something that we. Is there anything that we can learn and grasp all this? So absolutely. Again, it's a new day. It's a new day in the age, and the modern day technology.
Oh yeah. Nowadays you can find out more things thanks to the internet, what have you.
Yeah. And again, it's like, and if it had not been for modern day technology of today, we still would be in Stone Age.
That is true.
And again, nobody ain't trying to go back to 1921 or 1905 or 1862.
That's a long ass time.
Yeah, when they had free reign. And what's funny is about that is how they think that when they pull something off, being split, somebody's always telling on them. That's what I find interesting. It's like, so I guess everything ain't all hunky dory like you thought it was.
True.
Like it's not all, being on code and, y'all stick by one another regardless. But yet, like, and even in another thing, and I'm gonna wrap this up. Even with the drones, the Klan members wanted to use that as a way to stalk and kill black folks. But yeah, it was people that told on them.
Oh yeah. Then that movie, The Birth of a Nation, brought back the KKK.
Yeah.
And that President Woodrow Wilson even screened the fucking movie in the White House. Like, really?
It's like, yeah, it's like, again, hey, for black folks, I'm like, hey, yeah, it may seem as though, like, hey, they try to, get us in a position where we down for the count, but remember this. That you're more than what, than what's put out there and what is perceived.
Hmm.
So when so it's like so when people try to say that again it's like again like there is really necessarily no hope or there's we're just a lost cause. Remember, hell, you forget.
Hmm.
To me, it's like the stuff that we still go through till this day. It's like, hey, and again, it's like if you and then even for the so-called too, but even the coons sort of know this stuff, but they're not just necessarily.
They don't want to rock the boat.
No, it takes again, it really takes being like hard iron will, you know,
Hmm.
iron will in the bill, again to use that strength and use it for positivity and be better than the previous generation or even the generation that came before you or even after.
Hmm.
It's like, and the thing about it is, a lot of folks, yes, when slavery was out, after slavery was over, they went and got educated and went about their business.
Hmm.
And if not, then hell, would have had things like peanut butter?
Hell no. We even did a lot of things, even things that they didn't give us credit for.
Oh, yeah. Everything, again, it's like, again, going back to that whitewash, history wash,
Yeah,
everything.
everything whitewash.
Yeah. Hell, the helicopter, the refrigerator, the telephone.
The super soaker.
Yeah,
The first open heart surgery come
yeah.
from a black man. The traffic light, gas mask.
So again, so to say that again, we haven't contributed and we haven't made a history, again, telling it from the certain eye from view point of view.
Right.
I again, it's like I'm like I don't really give it. I'm like yeah, it's kind of frustrating, but you know what? We know how these people think. Yeah, I know how. You obviously had a black woman, black isolated environment so long that you wouldn't know what the truth is if it hit you right in the face. Oh yeah, and by the way, oh yeah, and guess what? Mathematics came from the motherland.
Oh yeah, math. We came up with a lot of stuff.
Yeah, but yet we're different. We're we're just what else do they say? Oh yeah, we're
Yeah, we're
man,
lazy. We're
yeah,
we're we're stupid. No, far from it.
yeah, yeah, we're yeah, different Negro. Okay,
Like we have a history outside of slavery and after it. It doesn't fit their white supremacy bullshit myth.
oh yeah, because that's what it all boils down to. They gotta have something to go off to feed to their home.
Right.
Because if they didn't, then it would all just be pointless.
Uh,
And it's like, and no, nobody, again, somebody, well, you know, racism ain't going to, it's like, no one ever really said it was. It wasn't going away. 90 times, but I guarantee you that they're actually really trying to work very hard to stay clear away from that by, again, like having these monuments that was named after American traders.
yeah, the Confederates.
Yeah, traders.
Yeah, traitors. And that's another thing. Why the fuck do they wave that Confederate flag? You guys lost that war. Get over it.
There's a lot of, hell, just like with the insurrection, they was mad because, hell, he was mad because he lost. So, again, when you lose, their way of doing things is to remind y'all that it wasn't me they lost. It was the so-called opponent who somehow sabotaged them to make them. Like, okay, so if I have a boxing match and I win fair and square, and I'm hitting my opponent real hard in the chin, in the stomach, and in the chest, I'm doing whatever I got to do to finish him. It's easy for him to use a microaggression things I teach. Well, how do you teach boxing? How? Electrify, did a Mike Tyson fight his ear off, like he did Evander Holyfield. Yeah, I can see that, but no. It's in that, taking L's, accountability, it's, it's kryptonite. No one never held y'all accountable. Y'all ain't never been checked. Y'all ain't never been addressed for y'all wrongdoing. Y'all always been pampered and, house to house.
Exactly.
So that's all we be saying. It's like, at least take some accountability for shit and quit deflecting and passing the buck on to somebody else just so you don't want to face, just so you don't have, it won't hit you at all.
Yeah.
But you know it though. But yeah, it's to me, I may do a panel myself, about, are there certain things that people worth fighting for? I mean, there is, but it's even worth arguing and combating, combating. And I mean in the sense of how, because you will always have a kid, no matter how ridiculous they sound, no matter how much you try to point out stuff, it gets exhausting. And when you try, it's like, okay, now somebody, you could have a street fight and fight hand to hand, and yet they gonna be so quick to pull out a weapon or get another buddy of theirs to help out instead of it being a one-on-one. Now I can see if I had a homie with, and let's make it a two-on, and you had your homie with, it's like, okay, yes, fair game, it's even. Whoever the winning team is, hey, we'll give you your props. But I can't necessarily expect motherfuckers to go, again, have a fair game.
Yeah.
I don't, again, that's not something to be celebrated. I don't enjoy it. I've had it up to here with these folks. And it's
Yeah.
going to be more, again, the, the, the pussification of the world, the cowardification of the world.
Yeah.
Just seeing nothing but just a bunch of hands and cowards that don't do things head on. So, of course, they're going to ask for help when they're in the wrong. But yeah, that's all. All right, bye. So good. We're on.
Yeah, that's everything.
But yeah, but again, it's like, hey, for people, again, hey, for those who didn't show up, hey, it's all good. Even for the one that,
Yeah, it was a good show.
yeah, even for the so-called big, you know what? At least, again, you made your viewership just sent, again, to go to the roof. Like, I
Yeah.
appreciate your company, sir, or man, whatever the hell you did.
Yeah, I've been on for like how many hours?
3,
Okay, that ain't bad.
yeah. But hey, well, again, it's like, I figured that, hey, I may want to speak on some things myself, but, get my, get input of, get the finding of the Black Wall Street Greenwood, the Biden Greenwood, hey, it opens the doors for newer heads, new people who really want to learn more and who really be invested in it. They can do that. And also have conversations even with some of the elders.
That too.
And they can also dial. And,
Yeah.
and another thing, and also to the biggest, whatever your name is, you can't necessarily say that, we was asking for the, again, like, you hardly was asking for money. That didn't even come up.
Hmm.
I mean, yeah, did money and passing, of course, did you talk about? Sure, but no one's getting paid for this. Well, all right, then, I'm going to go on here
All right.
real quick.
Glad to have you here on the panel. All right. You have a good night.
You
All right. Peace. All right, y'all. Thanks for showing up, whoever was watching. And like I said, I want to bring awareness to Black Wall Street, especially it's this anniversary. So I chose to bring attention to it because it needs to be acknowledged because it was a tragedy. Blacks were thriving and jealous motherfuckers destroyed their community. So yeah, rest in peace to the ones who lost their lives. Rest in power. And shout out to the survivors and the descendants. Black love. Peace.